Guys, so now we will going to cover about Python, okay, and we will going to focus on the strings, okay, in this complete free course. So inside this course we will going to cover strings in more detail. So if you are thinking that strings are like just the text, okay, which we write in the code, so it's very limited knowledge you have. Now if you want to increase your knowledge more on the strings, so this is the perfect course you need to watch. Okay, so inside this course you will going to learn lots of functions and functionality which you have related to strings in the Python. Okay, and we will going to cover two projects as well. So this is a complete beginner's guide. Okay, so if you want to learn about the strings in very detail, so make sure that you watch this complete free course, okay, which is something part 4, okay, of this particular course. So make sure that you watch it, and you will going to learn lots of concept like string, indexing, iterating, string length and slicing, repeating and concatenating, membership operator, okay, and plenty of functions like splitting, joining, finding, replacing, upper, lower, alpha, digit, elnum. Now all these concepts are something which you need to know about strings, so make sure that you follow and watch this complete free course from starting to end. So now guys, we will go ahead and go with the string, okay, the part 4. Now the part 4 is something that is related to about the strings in the Python, okay. But as we have said that this particular Python course is divided into different parts like part 1, part 2, part 3, okay, and then the part 4 which you are watching right now. So in case if you haven't gone through with the part 1 and 2 and 3, so what I suggest you guys is to just search for Kuku courses. Okay, just go to kukucourses.com here on the website, and after this you will see the extras. Click on the blocks, and after you click on the blocks you will see this learn to code Python. In case if you don't see it here, just search for learn to code Python on the website. You will see this link learn to code Python, and you will come exactly to the same URL. And the best thing is that all this part 1, suppose if you click on part 1, so this part 1 we are going to have one video, and this part 1 has that video, and that video will going to cover all the topics. Okay, so this below are some sort of a notes, okay, which you guys can prefer, okay, and these notes are all related to this video, so everything has been covered in this video, okay. So make sure that you explore that, okay, and same you go with, let's say, learn to code Python part 2, where we have discussed more about the operators. And for the operators you can see we have a part 2. So watch this video, and all the notes related to that has been provided to you below as well, right? So just go ahead and let's say click on similarly part 3. So for part 3 also we have attach the video for the conditions, okay. So part 3 is all about conditional statements in the Python, okay, where we have covered about loops, break, pass, nested, if else, and plenty of other things. So everything has been covered in this video, and below that we have provided the notes for that, okay. And the part 4 which you will going to watch right now, which is related to the strings, okay, in the Python. Now currently we don't have attached the video for it. The video which you will going to, the course which you will going to watch right now, will only be added over here, okay, after some time. So when you will come here again, okay, so you will going to see all of that over here, okay. The part 4 video will also be attached for that. But remember, in this part 4, okay, you will going to see we have all the nodes related to the strings, and this is what we will going to cover inside this course, okay. So for your future notes, we have provided this for you, okay. So this is the something you need to proceed, okay. So until unless you don't watch part 1, part 2, part 3, so do not proceed with the part 4, but still you can, okay. But still, if you are the person who are totally beginner, so I will suggest you guys to cover the part 1, part 2 and part 3, okay, to learn more about it, okay. Let's see what is the string. Okay, so if you have followed the basics, so we have already covered about the concept of strings, okay, which is very simple, okay, in the data types, where we have taught you what is the string. So strings are the text which are something related to text, okay. So this type of a thing are known as text. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and create a new folder. Let me just put it, let's say strings, like that. And after that, let me just put here, let's say main, or let's say meaning dot py. Okay, now what is the string? So string means a sort of a text which you add, okay, to your Python inside a variable. For example, you all know what variable is. So suppose I write here name, okay, and let's say whenever you write any text in the Python, so suppose if you write your name, so it will show you some sort of a problem. And if you go bottom, you will see it's Python is not considering this text as a text, okay. So for that you need to add the codes. So if you remove it under your codes like this, add Kunal, now you can see Python is able to read that. So this is something we have already discussed, and there is plenty of things we will going to cover about the strings, okay, the advanced version of the strings, you can say. Now here always remember the text which you will going to write, okay, will always be in the codes, okay, whenever you work with the strings, okay. Now let's say if we just talk about, let's say numbers, okay. So for example, let's say if I say, okay, about the numbers, okay, so numbers will never be considered okay, as a string. Now guys, always remember that when we talk about the strings, they can be like this, okay. So for example, let's say if I write here, let's say my uh, let's say uh, let's say my school name, okay. So it's DPS. So either you can use double quotes DPS, or you can also use the single quotes, so still that will not be the problem. Now another thing which I want to tell you is about when we write some big text, okay. For example, let's say if I want to write the single quotes, okay, so always first make sure that there should be no space. And if you write here single quote equals to, let's say I say, let's say uh, Python, right, this is something. And you can also write in the single quote, okay, so as we have discussed, like this, okay, no problem, okay, both are easy. You can also write it in the double, like we have discussed, let's say Python, like this. You can also write it in a triple quotes, okay. So sometimes what happens is that we have a very big line, okay. Now for that, what we need to do is that we suppose I want to write, let's say like this, let's say I, then in the brackets I am, wait, I wait, okay, wait. So here what you can do is that you can, in the brackets, you can just write like this, okay. Let's say whenever you want to add some text or something, okay, so you can whenever you want to write something in, let's say 3 lines, okay. So let's say if I write here I let's say love Python, like this. So these are the 3 lines. So whenever you want to go and write something in the more than 2 lines, so in that case we use this triple quotes. Now let's say if you remove it, you will see, you will face the problem even if you go with the one quotes. And let me show you. For example, you put one quote here, okay, okay. And let's say if you write here I love, let's say Python, and if you try to, let's say, write it in new lines, so you will going to see that it will going to create the problems for you, right? So always remember that when we, let's say, write some double word, okay, so suppose in here, if I write here double word, let's say Python love, okay, or let's say it could be, let's say, triple word, okay, so it could be like this, let's say I love Python, like this. But when we talk about writing in the 3 lines, okay, anything or any text which you want to write in the 3 lines, okay, more than, let's say, 1 to 2 lines, so in such case we use 3 quotes, okay, to write the lines like I love Python, like this, okay, something very cool, okay. And one thing which I want to tell you is that, let's say, if I now want to print it, wait, if I want to print, let's say, the variable, okay, which I have, let's say the single quote, comma, let's say triple word, okay, and let's say for the this one, let's say if I put here, let's say triple underscore line equals to, like this, okay, and let me just put this as well, triple line, like that, okay. So if you now run the application, you are going to see it will print all of them, Python, I love Python, I love Python, like that. So this is how, my dear friends, it works, okay. So first it printed Python, okay, then again it was in the comma, so it also printed I love Python as well here, and then after that it has also printed this triple line for us, which we have put here, I love Python, like that, okay. So this is something, the meaning of Python we have over here, okay. So Python is nothing, just the text which we want to add in the Python, okay, programming language, but it will always be in the codes, okay, otherwise it will show you some sort of a error. Let's cover about the characteristics of this string, okay. So I can just write characteristics.py. Now when we talk about some characteristics of a string, so it basically has 3 characters in general. First one, I can say it's immutable, okay. So always remember, the strings which you see, you cannot I can say replace it, just you can update it, okay, but you cannot change it. For example, what does that mean? Okay, so suppose let's say I create one more file, let's say mean.py, and let's say here I just write here, let's say name equals to Kunal, okay. Now the thing is that if the first value is stored, you cannot change it, okay. So if you print name, okay, let's clear this up, you can see that is but obvious, it will say Kunal. But let's say this time I just want to update it, so update is possible. So how you can update it, just write it with something else. For example, let's say I put the K big, okay. Now you can see it will treat as a Kunal, so it has updated the value, it doesn't change the value, okay. So always remember, whenever we talk about Python, okay, and especially the strings, they are immutable. That means you can update it but you cannot change it, okay. So that is by the rule we have, and that is the concept of immutable. Immutable means you cannot change it, and mutable is just the opposite of it, you can change it. But when we talk about the strings characteristics, it is immutable. And the second is that it get index, okay, very easily, okay. So that means you can find any character position, okay, using this strings. Now what does this means? Okay, so um, very simple. Let's say here I have, let's say, Kunal. Okay, now let's say I want to know what is the location of you. Okay, I'm talking about you. So what you will going to do is that generally what we do, we just write the name, okay, of that variable where that is stored, and we just put the brackets, big brackets, and here we say that I want to know the, let's say, location of you. Okay, like this in the brackets, you, I want to know the location of you, in which position it is. And of course it will not going to work, it will show you the error. So for that you need to put this inside the print, okay, like this. Awesome. And if you run this, so you can see, uh okay, wait, uh okay, sorry, here let's say I want to know that, let's say, what is in the one position, okay, like this. So it will show me that, okay, in the one position we have 0. Now what is this, by the way? See, you all know that as a normal human being we generally start the count from 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 9 10 and so on. But in the case of Python, okay, in the case of Python, what we do is that we start it from, let's say, positive. Okay, so it started from the 0, 1 2 3 and 4 and so on. Okay, so now in this case, let's say if you think that here, let's say I want to know the k value. Okay, so k is in which position? So if you don't know the Python, you will type 1, but you can see it has brought the 0. 0 means the second value, that is u. Okay, so why that happened? Because k value is in Python is 0 and 1 value is u. Now let's say if you put here, let's say 0. Now if you run the application, let's say, you will say, it will say k. So k is in 0 position, right? So this is what we have, the concept of indexing. Okay, so strings can be indexed, that means you can find any character position, okay, by the number. Now let's say, if I just go here and let's say if I want to know what is in the fourth location, if I run this, you can see it will say L, right? So L is in last location. Okay, so how, if you will going to see here, when we're talking about the string, so if you will going to see here, if we talk about Kunal, so you will see that in k we have in the 0 location, u we have in the first location, okay, and we have is in the second location, a we have in the uh, 3 location, and L we have in the fourth location. So reason when we type here 4, it shows us the 4. But now let's say what will going to happen, okay, okay, when you try to go with the fifth, okay, if you let's say type 5, so we all know that it generally end after that. Okay, so it will basically going to show you error like this, and it will show you that index out of range, because you can say here in the 5 we don't have anything. But of course if you add here s, now Kunal's, and if you run it, so now this will say it like s. Okay, but this is how the indexing is all about. Okay, now one thing I want to tell you, that indexing can be done in the positive as well as in the negative as well. So for example here, so Python basically, it starts the negative from, let's say, -1, then -2, then let's say minus 3, then -4 and so on. So this is how Python will going to start it from the negative. So basically when the Python will going to start from the negative, so in the case of negative, what will going to happen? this L will become -1, okay, this A will become -2, this N will become -3, and this will become 4, and this will become 5. Okay, now let's say if you just go here, okay, so what I am trying to say you is that when we talk about Python, so it basically can go or index on the basis of two methods, positive or negative. So positive, it will start from 0 1 2 3, but for the negative it will start from -1 2 3. Okay, so it will start from the opposite direction. So suppose here instead of 1, okay, let's say if I go with -1, now you can see if you run it, it will pass L. Why? Because when you start from the minus, it will start from the text which is at the very end. So and we have L, so that L has been passed. And let's say if you go with, let's say, -3, so you can see if you run it, it will pass N here. Okay, because N, you can see in the minus, if we start from -3, N is in that location. So this is how you can say the characteristics of the string. First is the immutable, okay, and the second thing is that it can be indexed. That means you can find the location of any character in the string, okay, very easily. Okay, awesome. So this is something we have here. So just understand that when we talk about it, the positive, okay, so it will basically going to go ahead, okay, and go from the left to right. But when we talk about, let's say, negative, so it will be from right to left, like this. Okay, that is what happened here. So if you will see, positive will start from the left, so you can see it started from the left, KUNL. Okay, if I put here 3, so it will say here A. Okay, because if you will going to count, K is 0, U is 1, and N is 2, and A is 3. Okay, so that is what it is. But if you put it -3, so it will going to pass here N, because here you can see L is -1, A is -2, and N is -3. So that is how the concept of indexing works here. And the third thing we have is the iteration. Okay, so even if you just go to our blog article which we have shared with you, if you will just go here, what is string? Okay, so of course here you can see here we have just covered each and everything. What is string, single quote, double quote, triple quotes, or if you want to write the multi-line text, so for that it is okay. So you can just read the article. And the string indexing, we have told about both positive and negative, left to right, right to left. Okay, everything is covered. And iterating through a string is also possible. Okay, so you might have in the part okay, in the previous topics we have covered about the loops as well. Okay, okay, so while loop, for loop. So in the case of the string also the loops take place. Okay, so loops applied in strings too. Okay, let's see that with the example. Okay, so suppose here we have name. Okay, now let's say I want to put here like this, for let's say I in, let's say here I will put the variable. So you all know in the concept of loops we create one variable. So I create a variable, and this is what we have taught you. Okay, in the conditions, if you might know about in the loops, that here we create a variable. So same thing I done here, for then I created a variable. You can create it whatever you want. So I created as a I, and then E, then in, and then whatever list range. Okay, so for example, I put here the name. Okay, you can consider this as a list. Okay, now you just need to write the statement. So for example, I put the I. So that is what you can done here. Now see what will going to happen. Now if you run the application, it will say KUNAL one by one. So basically what happened here is that first, uh, what happened in the case of loop here, I will first become equals to K, and after running that it will print K, as you can see. Then I will go for the U. Okay, so here then after this I will becomes to equals to U, then it will print U. Okay, and this is how the program will run. So first I will go and become equals to K. Okay, then it will print that, then U and L and so on. So basically what I mean to say is that the concept of loops also apply in the strings as well. And these three are the examples we have created for you, and the same concepts we have also covered in your notes as well, so you can anytime read that, okay, in case if you have any doubts. So this is how we say the three characteristics of strings. Let's go ahead and try to understand the plenty of concepts, okay, we have inside the strings. So the very first we will going to cover is about, let's say, with mm, inside the string is, let's say, length dot py. Okay, so it's basically length function will basically going to tell you that what is the length of the string. Okay, so let's say length function. Okay, so now let's say if I create, let's say, some string variable, and let's say here if I write here, let's say Python, or I can say, let's say, I love Python, like this. Now let's say I want to count how many characters it has. Okay, so what I can do is that I can either create a new variable, let's say length something like this equals to length, and then in the brackets I can pass this string, and I can print, let's say, length here. Just clear it up, let's run it, and you can see it will calculate 13. Now if you try to calculate it, let's say if you calculate here, let's say one character, okay, two is for the love. Let me just take you with the notepad. So let's say I return I love Python. So here you will see 1, okay, then L, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but the result is showing 13. So guys, when we talk about it, okay, about calculating the string, and also always remember the space is also counted. Okay, so even though we have here in I love Python we have a total of 11 characters, okay, but the space here you can see one space we have over here, and the second space we have over here, so both of this space has been counted. Now let's say if you remove the space and if you run it, so you can see now it's 11, right? Now also instead of going with so deep, what you can do is that you can just pass this command directly inside the print, remove it and put it like this, and remove it from here. So it's a professional way, it will calculate for you like that. Okay, so this is something we have here, the length function. You can see and you can learn more about all the nodes we have here for you created. Okay, and by the way you can just go at the top and from here also you can just go and go with the, let's say, we have here this string length and slicing and all. Okay, so this is the length function we have over here. Okay, and now related to this, you can create one project. Okay, let's say I want to calculate the password. Okay, and let's say the password is, let's say, string, maybe something like that. Now I want to say that if length of the password, which is this one. Okay, so I'm passing one condition. If length of the password is, let's say, greater than 5, so I want to print, let's say, login success, like this. Otherwise, else you can print login fail, like this. Okay, so this is how it works. Now if you clear this up, run the application, you can see login success, because we are saying that the password which we will going to set should be greater than 5. So here you can see in string we have total 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, but let's say you put maybe, let's say, 1 2 3, something like this password, you can see it will say login fail. Okay, now you might be thinking that this is a number. Okay, but whenever, even if it's that's a number, and if you put that under the quotes, it will treat that as a string. Okay, so let's say if I type here like that, anything that way, so it will say login success. So this is just a program where we have set a password, and we set one condition, that if the length of the password is, let's say, greater than this, okay, 5, then only it should be login, otherwise it should fail. Also you can use it for by asking the input from the users as well. Let's say enter your password, like this. Okay, and after you, let's say, run this, as I type the password, you can say it's login success, like that. So something very amazing application you can create. So just a one simple project we have here. Okay, now guys, as you have discussed some of the projects, so similarly more projects we have covered in the library. If you go to my website library, so here you can see we have a good amount of library. Okay, for one time price you can check our library for the developer kit. Okay, and here you will going to get more projects of Python, like 200 plus Python projects. Okay, 100 plus tools on programming. Okay, and 100 plus interview questions that will help you to crack the interview. Then let's just go with the new concept, slicing.py. Now let's say I want to uh, let's say we have here, let's say, some sentence. Okay, and I want to, let's say, get only love from here. Okay, let's say I want to extract love from the sentence. So in such case we use the concept of slicing, and this same thing we have also covered over here. Slicing extracts the part. Okay, you just have to put the start and stop. So let's say it works like this: stop, start, stop, and also the step, like we have in the range. And same concept here, the start will going to start. Okay, let's say you can put whatever you want for the start. Okay, let's say you want to start it from 1, but when we talk about a stop, so whatever you put, okay, let's say you put here 1, let's say 3, so now it will going to count 3, but as I have mentioned, that it will always going to exclude. So that means you always have to remember it will be always 3 minus 1. So basically you will going to get as the result 1. So what I suggest, if you want, let's say, total 3, so always just add the 1. So let's say total you will say 4. Okay, and the step. Okay, so let's just go ahead with that. Okay, so let's say I put one variable, let's say Python. Okay, now let's say I want to know the print, okay, the start. So I want it to start from, let's say 1, okay, comma. Okay, by the way, whenever you use slicing, make sure that you call the text, and I want to start it from 1, and I want to stop it at, let's say 2. Okay, and the text or the step will be, let's say, one gap. If you run it, you can see YTY. Now why that happened basically, because here you can see we have put the text as Python. Okay, and we said the start should be 1, you can see, and the text should be 2. Okay, and the step, let's say, will be 1, right? So now what happened is that 1. So as you all know that Python always starts from 0, so that's the reason P is not included in the result. It included YTY. Okay, YTY. So what it does is that it basically, you know start from Y, okay, and stop at uh, second position, okay, by 1. Okay, so that's the reason it's shown you YTY. Okay, like that, right? By the way, by default you don't require this step, you're only good to go with this two as well, so it's the YT. Okay, now that's how it works. And if you will going to let's say if I write here I love Python, unless I want to start from 0 and I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want the text 5, so let's include, let's say 5. Now see what will going to happen. You will see it will only going to put here 1, and the E. Okay, why? So here if you will going to notice 0. Okay, so in 0 position we have I. Okay, and 5, so where it goes 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the 5 it has provided us E. So always remember, as I have mentioned, Python will always going to count the space as well, okay, as a one character. So always do take care about that. So because of that, it has given us in the 5th position E. Okay, because E is in 5th position, right? And let's say if I put here, let's say 1. Now see, it will say I only, because I is this one which is starting point, and the first 0, 1, so 1 is the space, so that's why the space is not visible. But if you put 2, so you will see that you will also going to get I and then L, okay, from here, because I is in 0 position, then space is another character, and then 1 is in L. So that is the slicing that helps you to extract, okay, the part of the string you want, okay, so that you can calculate it from here. Okay, so that is the something we have, let's say, over here. Okay, and after this, okay, by the way, you can also calculate, let's say, -1 as well. Now I told you that whenever it will be minus, it will start from the back. Okay, so if you run it, you can see I is for the 0. Okay, and this n we have got it from the end. Okay, so that is possible with the -1. Okay, so that is the thing, you can also extract it from the -1 as well. Okay, now let's just go ahead and go with the repeat dot py. Okay, now let me just remove all of that. Okay, let's say I go with the number. Okay, let's say 10. Okay, now let's say I want to print. Okay, let's say number. Okay, multiplied by 20. So if I want to use the concept of repeat, so you can multiply the string by using the multiple sign. So if it's normally a number, let's say if it's a number like this, so what it will going to do, run it, it will say 200 because 10 multiplied by 20 is 200. So Python is treating that is a number, but if you put it inside the codes, now this time what will going to happen, it will multiply the text by 10 times. But the problem is that text is another breed, or I can say another data type, and the 20 is another data type. So it will going to write 10 20 times. If you will going to see like this, it has written 10 20 times. So that is what it is. So if you ever want to repeat something, okay, so in that case you can just put the text, or if you want to repeat the string, so you can just multiply it by whatever, and it will going to repeat that. Okay, so in this way you can repeat any string. Now let's talk about a new concept, that is concate. Okay, so this basically helps you to add or join the string using the plus button. Okay, now let's say how it works. So suppose if I write my, let's say, first name. My first name is, let's say, Kunal. Okay, my last name is Lonhari, like that. Okay, now let's say I want to merge them. So how I can do that? I can just write like this, print first name plus last name, like this. Let's clear this up first. Let's run it. You will say like this, Kunal Lonhari. And if you really want the space, so what you can do, either you can put one space here in the Kunal at that here, and it will give you the space, or you can put one space extra over here. Okay, like that. Otherwise the best thing I will say is to add one plus sign and put it like this. Okay, put a space here. Now you can see in this way also you can get the space here. So that's how you can add it. But generally when solving the numbers we say add. Okay, but when you're trying to add some text, okay, like this, so we use the word concatenate. Okay, so professional use the word concatenate. Okay, that means you add the text. So make sure that you remember about it. Okay, and we have here the example as well. Okay, now let's talk about the membership. So membership basically helps you to know that particular thing we have available inside the text or not. So suppose I write here I love Python. Okay, now let's say I can say if I want to know that, let's say, uh, member uh, is available inside it or not. So suppose I can write like this, print. Okay, then I can say like word love. So I want to say love in text or not. Okay, so you are saying that is love available in the variable text. If you run it, it will give you answer in true or false, and that is where the membership is all about. So it will check the string inside the string using in. So if it's available, So it will say true or not, it will say false. Now let's say if I go, let's say to maybe let's say not. So I know that not is not available in this text. So if I just go here and if I run it, so it will say false. So that is the membership. So if you ever want to know that particular word is available in that particular variable, so you use this membership one here, okay, which is very great. So this is in, okay, but we also have something known as not. Okay, so you can save if you write here not. Okay, by the way, if you run it, it will say true, but if you want to just opposite the result, so you will just say not, add not in front of in, so it will just opposite the result. Okay, so that is what it is. So this is known as membership. Okay, very simple. Okay, and now using this, let's create another project. So you might have seen that in email address we generally have at the rate. So you might have seen that some field says that put your email address, okay, right? So if the email address is invalid, so it will say invalid email address. Okay, so what generally the system do? So let's say we have one email here. Okay, uh, let's say dummy at the rate, let's say gmail.com. Okay, now here I will going to add one condition. If, okay, I will say a text if at the rate, okay, because at the rate is something very common in all, I say all the emails, okay, whether at the rate yahoo.com, at the rate outlook.com, at the rate gmail.com, or maybe your custom domain. So at the rate is very much important in the email address. So if I say if at the rate in email, okay, so I'm using this membership which I have taught you. Okay, so I'm saying like here we have said in, okay, so similarly I said here if at the rate in email, if it's true, if it's available, so you can say valid email. Otherwise, if it's not available, so you will just pass it with the print, let's say invalid email, like this. Now if you run it, you can see valid email, but if there will be no, let's say at the rate, so it will say invalid email. So this is where you use this membership feature as well, okay, to confirm that any particular element which you decide should be there. Okay, so in such case we use this one, okay, membership one. And now let's go with some, you know, of the concept we have, let's say uh, about, you know, some functions. By the way, there are plenty of functions we have in the Python, okay, like we have, you know, uh, upper, lower. Okay, so I have given you all of them as notes. Okay, so let's first teach you all about it. So for example, let's say I write a text variable, okay, and here I say, let's say this is Python. Now let's say I want to convert each and every of them to the lower case. Wait, okay, so what I will going to do, I will just going to write like this string, text dot lower. Automatically you will see the option, but if you try to run it, it will not run because we need to put that inside the print. Okay, so just copy this and put it inside it. Now it will run, so you can see what it will going to do. Okay, just make sure that you add the brackets as well. Okay, now run it, you can see this is Python. So it has basically turned each and everything or element to a smaller case, right? And also instead of this, what you can do is that you can just write the text like this, print the text, and you can just directly go at the top and here you can write dot lower directly here. So it will going to work the same way, but make sure that you add the brackets, otherwise it will not run. So you can see this is Python. Awesome. All right, but let's say if you want to ask on the basis of input, so let's say if I ask from the input, enter your name, okay, like this. Now let's say I want the result to be always in the lower case, like this. So you can directly add here, and if I run the program, it will ask me the name. So let's say even if I write that in the capital, if I click on enter, okay, but make sure that you add the brackets. I am doing this intentionally so that you learn that. Now let's say if I Kunal capital, so it has automatically converted that into a smaller one, so you can directly add that over here, okay. And let's say if you want to convert any small to upper, so very simple, instead of lower you just write here upper, like this. And let's say if you run the program, let's say now this time I write everything in the small, like this, click on enter, but you can see it has converted that into the uppercase, every of the small into uppercase, right? Now if you want to capitalize it, now what is the capitalize? If you see here, okay, so capitalize will going to capitalize each and every of the items. So if you run it, and let's say if I put here everything in small, click on enter, and you can see it will capitalize it. So capitalize means the first, I can say, the word, it will turn that into a capital. For example, here we have a put email, so it will make the P capital and rest everything in small. And here we have an email, so the email will become capital and rest everything will be in small. So that is the concept we have here, okay, of the capitalize. So that is what you can do. And for the also the same concept here, we also say it like a title. So suppose here I write here enter your sentence, okay, sentence, and let's say if I write here title, and if I run it, now let's say everything I will, let's say, write it in the, let's say, capital. Kunal is great, click on enter, you can see here everything, the first character will become big and rest everything will become small. Like Kunal's K will become capital and rest everything is small. Great, G will become capital and rest everything is small. That is the title one, okay. And we also have a swap as well, swap case. So it will just going to opposite it. For example, let's say what swap will going to do, okay. Let's say in this example P we have, okay, so swap will going to convert it into opposite. For example, P we have big, so it will make it small, okay, and U is small, so it will convert that into a capital. So it will just going to opposite that. So if I run the application, so let's say this time, let's say I write here Kunal is great, so you can see, click on enter. Now what it does is that Kate make small and rest everything in the Kunal is small, so it converted that into a capital. And I is small, so it has converted that into a capital. And here everything is in capital, okay, so it convert that into a small, okay, alphabets. So that is the swap, okay. And similarly we have find and replace. By the way, as I have mentioned, all the things are over here, okay. So title case, swap case, then we have a find and replace as well. So for example, let's say uh, if I go okay, and let's say I go and write a text, let's say Python is cool, like this. Okay, now let's say if I want to find, okay, so by the way, you can directly first write the variable dot, then let's say you want to find. Now what you want to find, so let's say I want to find whether py is available in this sentence or not. Okay, by the way, you can directly put this inside print. Okay, no need to write like that. Okay, now run it. It will say that py is starting from the 0. You can see py. Okay, and now let's say I want to know, let's say from where thon is starting, thon. So you can see it will say from the two location, because here you can see p is in 0, y is in 1 position, okay, and t is in 2 positions. So because of that, the t is starting from 2. So that is something we have over here. Okay, that is the find one. So it help you to find any particular text by giving the position of that, okay, the index of that. So that is very great. And then we have a replace. So for example, instead of find, you just put here replace, and let's say I want to replace thon with, let's say, java, like this. Now see what will going to happen. It will just going to find this particular text, it will replace that with java, like this. You can see py, and this thon has been replaced with the java. Okay, and that rest everything is cool. So whatever text you select here, okay, so it will going to replace it. For example, I want to replace complete python, so I will just going to write the text or the word which I want to replace, and instead of that, what I want to write, I want to replace that with java, let's say. So you can see java is cool, like that. Okay, so that is the replace one, which you can also use. Okay, then here we have split and join as well. Okay, so what it will going to do is that, let's say if I write here text equals to, let's say, a comma b comma c. Now I want to split that. Okay, so I will just going to write like this, text dot split, do like this in the brackets, but here just do one thing, that you need to write like this, comma. Okay, so this is what you need to remember when you do the split, and put each of the thing inside the print. Then only it will print the result for you, like that. Okay, now if you run it, you can see in this way it will going to split for you. And let's say if you want to split in the tuple, so you can just write here, let's say, tuple, and close the bracket. So it will going to split in the tuples, like that. Okay, very simple and easy way. Okay, for you to split anything. Okay, and that is what it is. And okay, so this is something split you can do. Okay, and now we also have the, let's say, text. Let's say if I write here, let's say, python. Now let's say I want to, let's say, go ahead with start with alpha. So these are few things, okay, which we have as well. Let's discuss that. So let's say if I write here print text dot start with, you can see here. Now let's say I want to start with p. Okay, in the here, like, write like this. If you run it, it will say true. That means it will going to give you confirmation that the given word is getting start with p or not. And remember, python is case sensitive, so if I put here capital P, now see the difference, it will say false. So always remember, python is case sensitive, so it will treat capital or the small letter both as a different element. Okay, so if this is what it is, same, let's say I want to, let's say, go with end with. Okay, and let's say in the given word, is it ending with n? So you can see true, because in Python the last letter is n, alphabet n. So of course it is ending with n, so it's set true. So that is the end with. And here we have is alpha. Okay, so what it does is that you just have to make it empty. Okay, so is it alpha? So it's true, because everything here is the text. Okay, let's say if I add one number here, Python 1, it will say false. So is alpha is basically used when every of the text in that string is text. Okay, if you add something else, it will show false. Okay, and let's say if similarly, like for the text we have, and for numbers we have is digit. Now if you run it, it will say false, because all the elements here are text. Now let's say if I write here some numbers, now it will say true. Okay, so this is what it is. And now let's say if you want, let's say both the mixture of both of them, so we use is, is lnum. Okay, so now here if you run it, it will say true. And even if I add some text like this, so mixture of both of them, still it will be true. So the particular string should have both either number or text, or even both, so it will accept all of them. So this is what is number is. Okay, so that is what we have said here. You can see is alpha only for alphabet, is digit only for number, and is alarm both alphabet and number. So these are some, I can say, notes. So make sure that you follow the notes. Okay, we have provided. So in this way we have covered all the things about string, okay, in very detail.